you home. Yeah. This is music. CSA. Remember a long time ago, serving at the corner store. Been round the corner before. Been serving blackers before. All of my niggas don't go. A lot of my niggas dead and gone. So you know the pressure on. Nigga get wrong, we at your home. Remember a long time ago, serving at the corner store. Been round the corner before. Been serving blackers before. All of my niggas don't go. A lot of my niggas dead and gone. So you know the pressure on. Nigga get wrong, we at your home. All of my niggas don't go. A lot of my niggas dead and gone. So you know the pressure on. Nigga get wrong, we at your home.
All right. I mean, I got my table a little crooked. Turn this music off. Sounds a Big D. Produced by. If you don't know now, you know. All right. Tonight, give me a second. Let me make my drink. Let me pour some of this. Tonight, we're going to be talking about District 5, Shan Rose, Regina Hill. We had some things coming out. I was caught up in some foolishness. Voluntarily caught up in some foolishness that I wanted to address, so I didn't get a chance to cover it. Give me a second. But tonight, I want to get back to the business. I want to get back to sensible podcasting. No bull. Well, I ain't gonna say no bullshit. Y'all know I'm doing some bullshit. That's damn near impossible. You know what I mean? Let me see what I got here. A little strawberry lemonade tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. Oh shit. I did a little more lemonade in that motherfucker. Yeah, it was stronger than I thought. Tonight I'm gonna be joined by Cameron Hope. We're gonna be talking about. Oh, I thought I seen Cameron pop in here. Anyway, he'll pop back. I ain't ready for him to come in yet. Anyway, man, I had a meeting tonight, y'all. Threw me off. I was meant to join G Money podcast earlier tonight. My meeting went way overboard. Had me in a whole different mood. You know what I mean? Arguing with folks. You know. Y'all been in meetings before. Anyway, let me pull my shit up, my documentation here. Damn. Oh, I'm so fucked. Let me stop cussing. I'm so discombobulated. Y'all give me a second as I get it together. It is Tuesday. I thought I had it pulled up. That's why I said, damn, but I didn't. Give me a second to pull up the documents in question. Let me go have to scroll through. I didn't save them, but I do have them. Y'all give me a second. Let me add Cameron Hope. Yeah, let me add him real quick. So I get him on the head. Somebody add Cameron Hope in the comments, because the documents are going to read strangely. I found peculiar that his name was added to the documents of what I received. If I can find these, documents, got to scroll back. There we go. Let me see. Oh, here we go. I have them. I'm not sure if these are the best copies I have, but these will do. Yeah, these will do. Y'all give me 1 second as I try to download these. And let me see if I got a better, more readable version of this complaint, this strange complaint filed on Regina Hill by Commissioner Shan Rose. We're also going to talk about a video circulated about Shan Rose, the whole traffic stop thing. We're going to break that down. But yeah, we're going to talk about the judge dismissing the case against Shan Rose, brought forth by Regina Hill. We're going to get into that too, because that is crazy in itself. Okay, let me see if I can get the better copy. Fuck it, I'll straighten and read these documents. I ain't looking for that shit no more. Cameron, let me tag Cameron Hope. And get him in here. And then we're going to be caught up and let this thing roll on out. Okay. I am back. All right, got it together. Kind of. Now, I'm going to start with the police report. It was a police report that was from the Orlando Police Department with several, not just one report, several. Matter of fact, y'all bear with me. I want y'all to see these reports. Hold on. I'm going to add Cameron to the stage. Cameron, welcome. Oh, I forgot to get the applause. Got that way for... I'm so used to G Money doing it and me not doing it. You know what I mean? Cameron, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Hold on. Let me get my camera set up here.
Yeah, and let me queue up some of these documents I'm talking about. These reports, Cameron. I didn't. As I spoke to you earlier, I'm scrambling here. You know what I'm saying? You know.
No, that's fine. Take your time.
Yeah, I do like to take a bath before I come on. You know. You know what I'm saying? You know. I like to do shit clean. You feel me? If I still got dirt on me, I can't go live. I feel like a dirty. You know. I just feel dirty out here talking, so I got home a little late. Still had to jump in the shower, y'all. So I didn't get time to cue all these things. I did have to do a test run with Cameron as he is streaming on. What's the name of your media company that we're streaming on the page that they should go follow?
First Hope Media. First Hope
Media. So yeah, we had to.
I believe we on now.
Yeah, we had to set up that thing before I got on. I made sure I did that before I took a shower, because I knew when I get out, I was gonna be running late. So we got that coming. If you haven't followed, First Hope Media, right? Make sure y'all go follow it. As I continue to I want to get these documents up, Cameron. They're missing your name. I want folks to see them. So, oh shit, I fucked that up. Okay, let me increase my window. All right, there we go. I'm loading the documents, you guys. These are the police reports. I didn't have them up. Cameron, go ahead and talk to the people for a minute. I'm sure you read the reports. But before I dive into it, just give us a general consensus of what you think of those police reports, and we'll get into reading them and how it includes yourself. So give me time to upload some of these images. Only got one more.
All right. Well, I mean, basically, Shan, she went down to Orlando Police Department. I don't remember the exact date. I think it was November the 7th. Actually, David, we were at the what was it called? We were at the meeting where they would, officially saying who actually won the election. And remember, you filmed Shan in the hallway, and you filmed Doug Kaplan. And after that whole ordeal was over with, it was that same day, later on that evening, that she went down to the Orlando Police Department on South Street and Orange Blossom Trail, and she called the officer down there and filed a complaint, basically a police report.
Wow, same day?
Yeah, that same day. This just shows how vindictive she is. Nobody did anything to her that day except exercise their right to challenge the election, which Regina had every right to do that. And so, and as your viewers see, I guess she had been keeping a record of different things that had happened, I think as far back as April of that year, last year. And she kind of just ran off a list of things that she felt, or that she said, she claimed or alleged, that were threatening to her. And if you look at the language that she uses, she's always going to say it was psychologically threatening to me, or I was intimidated, or he spoke with a loud voice and it scared me, and things like that.
Sound like a Karen.
Go ahead, what you say?
I said, sound like a Karen.
Yeah. But she's a little more sinister with it. What she's doing, and we'll break it down, to where she added me into it. It was based on something that happened, and it's complete false. I mean, she just outright lied. I went back and looked at the video of the incident that occurred, and what she said was not true. But we're going to get into, you're going to have to understand, and, I don't know how we're going to make people see, the character of this lady. And I want to pay special reference to when she addressed me as a known felon, I think it was.
Yeah, let me go ahead and read that, Camera. I finally got it up and got it all straightened out. Let me hold on one second. I gotta move the comments. The comments kind of cover my my board here. I'm fucking all, huh? All right, there we go. Okay, now, if you guys see, you can squint your eyes there and read that. That is the Orlando Police Department case report concerning the incident that Cameron has been talking about. I'm gonna read it to you guys. On October 19, 2025, I text the residents. Wait, make sure I'm on the right one. Yeah, I'm not sure it's the right one, Cameron. I'm going to read it. I text residents about a food drive. Regina posted it on social media, making it seem as though the event wasn't to benefit the residents. Oh, that ain't gonna help me. This was a lie and damaged my character because people question my integrity.
Okay, now let me explain something about this one. I think I kind of know what she was referring to, and what happened was, if I'm correct, Regina might have to go on here and clarify, what actually happened. But I think Shan did or was partnered with a food drive that wasn't in District 5. I think it was in District 6, I believe, if I remember it correctly. So I think Regina just made reference to that hey, she's not even in District 5 handing out the food, to the residents. The residents have to go all the way over to District 6 to get the food. So I think that's what she was making reference to. And, to the life of me, I don't understand why Shan Rose will put that in a police report. But she says as though, now you got to remember, this is coming from a lady that ran a campaign that, paid Doug Kaplan, tens of thousands of dollars, to portray Regina, in a certain light, and now
we had the fake videos and paid things that paid the girl to say the bad stuff about Regina.
Correct. Yeah. And so now she does a food drive in District 6, and Regina says something about it. Apparently, I don't even know if she did or not. And this is worthy of reporting it to the police. But this is not what she's trying to do. See, what people don't understand about Shan Rose, she's been doing this for as long as she's been around. She you got to remember, Regina is out on bond. So Shan's doing anything she can do. Oh, yeah.
All right, let me pull this back up, Cameron. You make a good point there. Now, Cameron is showing you how sinister. Let's go to the last line right here. How sinister Shan Rose is in filing this report. It ends with, "I feel threatened, unsafe, emotionally distraught, physically afraid, because these nonstop lies, behaviors, and attacks can incite her strong followers to harm me." And she threw in there earlier, Cameron, put it here, and I'm just going to go right to the Cameron Hope, a known convicted felon, said in a threatening voice, "Let's go." She likes to call the people. We will see Shan around. As if you were saying, because you call the police, because you are a convicted felon, a known convicted felon, that she should, in a threatening manner, because you know to harm people.
Well, I mean, that's what she's alleging.
That's what she's saying. That you know to harm people.
Actually, it's a defamatory statement, because I'm not known to do that. I mean, if you, I would just say this, the guy that is her boyfriend that she runs around with, he's an unknown convicted felon. She wants to keep him unknown, but she doesn't
put you out there.
Yeah, but she wants to put me out there as though I'm some violent person and she's afraid of me. She's a female. She should have been afraid of him, and what he might do to a female and whatnot. And then
he is a sexual offender.
Correct. Known sexual offender. But she has him right there in City Hall, standing next to her and her family, and obviously she's not afraid of him, but she's afraid of me, as she reported it to the police, according to her.
In her defense, he assaulted a 12-year-old. She's full grown. So maybe she feels safe in the comfort of her, what people have said to be her man. I haven't confirmed that, but maybe she feels safe because she's aged out of that predatory age. Anyway, I don't want to get into that.
Well, I mean, we can deduce that if you look at both of her inauguration pictures, he's in both pictures. So, who is he? He has to be someone of importance to her, someone of something that, she hasn't included anybody else in both of the pictures but her family. She's made reference to that before, about hurting her family. So, and nobody's ever said anything about her mother or the other. I don't even know who the other people are in the picture. In this most recent one, there's a white guy over there. Maybe that's part of her. I think that's her MAGA family.
The sexual offender / quote boyfriend is, to those who aren't familiar, is Travis Wright. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
Correct.
He's the dark-skinned guy in the black trench coat, red jacket, and that's a reported love interest. Like I said, he's definitely a guy who doesn't seem to be family. I'm not sure about that, but doesn't seem to be family. He's in all her inauguration pictures And you made a good point there. So he has to be someone close to her, but he's indeed a 100% a sexual offender. And like I've reiterated quite a few times that it was sex with a 12-year-old. And they said it was a long time ago, it don't count. But anyway, and just for the record, Cameron, that is a huge MAGA donor, supporter who swore her in, huge developer. That was an odd choice to swear her in, but hey, we're gonna move on from that. Okay. Now,
but and it's ironic, and we'll be getting that information as well. That day that she said that, you know, I made those statements to her, she filed a police report that day as well. She walked down to the end of the street, called the police, and filed a police report. We don't have the statements that she made, but we're going to be getting them. And, you know, we'll see what she said that day. But that was another example of a time when she was trying to have Regina arrested. So, you know, her bond would be revoked and whatnot. And she's done that on a number of occasions. She did that in another election against Regina. And we don't even know the full breadth of how many times she's done it. We're trying to get that information. Now, but
now, Cameron, I'm gonna stop there because as I rolled through my notes and, you know, through my research, I did find that that she's scared of you for being a known whatever she called known criminal. She is the guy in the picture. Her reported boyfriend is a known sexual offender, a known criminal. But not only that, I think it could be her ex-husband. I'm not sure if she's divorced or not. Her husband or ex-husband is a known drug dealer, as it comes by me.
Correct.
Or was a known drug dealer. I don't really know him. Like I said, I just know what the research tells me. What, you know, I do my black and white research, and then I get out and I talk to people. Whether I did Dextina when I found that she was paid to do that interview. When I go around and talk to people, I heard that her husband, ex-husband, who I never really brought it up because, you know, unfortunately, he was killed in that lifestyle, and I don't bring that up, so I don't want to harp on that. But, you know, I don't think that fear of you who has been living for hell. If Cameron, tell you the truth, that was so far away from my mind, I would never even thought of that and associate that with you until someone like her would bring that up. That would not be where I would say I know you from. That's the guy who ran for District 5. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, when we ran in our election, you know, that was something that it was floating around that if I would have been a threat to her winning the election, that she was going to bring that out, that she was going to expose that information about me. They were looking to find different things or trying to find something on me. And I, you know, when it was brought to my attention, I laughed about it because
I like to get into the comments because I see somebody trying to shoot you down. Shade in the Shade says, "You're on live with a beer T-shirt. This can't be serious." Shade in the Shade.
Well, actually, it's a Florida Gators shirt. You know,
and I guess the Gator. I was gonna point that out. Hey, you beat me to it. I was gonna say he has the Florida Gators mascot on. I guess they're not serious either.
Yeah.
Shade in the Shade. You got to keep up with the times now. Modelo is a strong sponsor of many events, sporting events. Hell, they might even sponsor.
I'm hoping I can get a sponsorship for them for our lives. You know, they sponsor these types of things.
I got a question for you, Kevin. Hey. I'm gonna distract and we're gonna go to the people. Go Shade in the Shade. Modelo is a beer. Shay, they sponsor different things. Anyway, yes, we are aware of that. So what did you do, Cameron, when you tried to run in the same election with the rebuttals?
With the rebuttals of you're not from Orlando nor District 5. Let me answer that question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who Shade Nashay is, but I probably
she's a Shan Rose supporter.
Oh, Shan Rose. Okay.
She says she on both sides though, but she's a Shan Rose supporter.
I probably lived in Orlando or been in this area longer than Shay and Shan Rose put together. More likely, Shan Rose isn't from here. She's only been. I don't think Shan Rose has been here 10 years. If she's been here that long, I don't know exactly how long it's been. But my history with Orlando, and I'm not campaigning for anything, but my history from Orlando goes back to 1982. The Orlando area. I graduated from West Orange High School. Actually, my grandparents lived in Winter Garden, and I lived in Winter Garden in high school.
That's Orlando, Shay. West Orange. Go ahead.
Yeah, but District 5, I've been in District. Well, I mean, I've had a business in District 5, maybe almost 20 years. About 15, 16, 17 years ago, I started my tax company. My first tax office was on Orange Blossom Trail. And
Orlando, just for Shay. Orlando, go ahead.
Yeah, Orlando, District 5. So that she knows I'm a business person that's been in the area for about 15, 17 years. And I also live in District 5. I lived in District 5 or had property in District 5 for maybe the last 8, 9, 10 years or something.
All right, she said she's definitely not a supporter, capital letters. I was born and raised in Orlando. That's not my district. Just heard a lot about you saying you from Miami, trying to run something in Orlando. You from Miami?
I was born in Miami. I was born in Miami. I lived in Miami until I was 15. And then I came to Winter Garden, and I graduated from high school in West Orange in 1985.
There you go, Shay. Almost said Nina. That was in person before. Shay, so yeah, that, I think that would qualify as being from Orlando. But
here's the thing. I don't know why someone would say that. Shan Rose isn't from Orlando.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
what they effectively done. I mean, she has no, not that I know of, unless someone can correct me on this. She has no roots, no significant roots to this area. She came to this area, and from what I heard, I don't want to, from what I heard, she came. Skipped the line on getting property here, that she got from the city on a project.
Due to Regina Hill.
Yeah, that Regina
program,
Hill put together.
She got, go ahead.
Somebody say, she was fired from the city of Orlando. They say for stealing, we don't know exactly what that is. I think for, using the city's money to buy something, in a personal home or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but, we'll get and find exactly what it was. So, I just think that people really don't know a lot of stuff, the behind the scenes about Shan, and it's sad what's going to happen to the district because a few people like her that have never had anything, and now and her history shows that if she ever gets the opportunity to get her hands on anything, she'll steal, she'll do whatever she has to do. She'll sell the people out. She's gonna do whatever she has to do to try to get it, and cares nothing about the residents, the Black residents. Now, I'm not talking about the other side of I-4 District 5. I'm talking about the Black residents whose families have been in this area for, 50, 60, 70 years. Shan cares nothing about those people, nothing about those people accessing the resources to empower them to be able to control their community. Shan is going to give all of those resources and all of that control. She's going to give it to the other people that don't even live in the community, not from the community.
Like the $1 million developer who swore in. That's kind of the irony of that, Cameron, that you're swearing on the Bible and you have this $1 million developer, not a pastor, not your school teacher, not the former mayor, no, a MAGA, a huge Trump support MAGA donator swearing you in, almost like a slap in the face, laughing in our face, like, and what the fuck you niggas gonna do about it? You know what I mean? I swear, I'm swearing to this motherfucker right now. I'm gonna do what I got to do. That's how I take it.
David, put that picture back up again. Put the picture back up again.
And by the way, Shan is from Poinciana. She graduated from Poinciana High School and only migrated to District 5 Orlando to run, or around the time she ran for District 5. Outside of her running for District 5, look at where she lived. Because I did, and she stayed in Poinciana. She got that house thanks to Commissioner Regina Hill. And then once she got residence, she ran. So, you know, she's been quite crafty and getting in there. Go ahead, Cameron.
Yeah, well, let me point out a couple of people on this picture. You know, the lady standing next to Mr. Wright. That's Sandra Lewis. You know, and you know, Sandra Lewis, she's a number in herself. But you know, Shan is putting the people right there in your face. You know, just like she put the developer in there, just like she put the boyfriend in there, and just like she put Sandra Lewis. Remember, Sandra Lewis was a witness in Regina Hill's case, you know, that received the money. I mean, they have a lot of things against Sandra Lewis.
I'm going to correct you there. You said a witness. I'm going to say key star witness.
Yeah. She was the key star witness. Thank you for correcting me. She was the key star witness in Regina's case. And you know, Shan's putting it right there in your face. And this is the type of person that Shan is. You know, Shan is the classic throw the rock and hide your hand. But then a lot of times, you know, she'll just, you know, as she gradually thinks that she has power, she's gonna put things right there in your face and like, you know, kiss my behind, basically. You know, but you know, she's not a very smart politician, I can tell you that. And she leaves a lot of crumbs and she's real sloppy and messy, you know, and she does things like this. And, you know, she leaves things for her political rival, people like Regina, you know, to come back and be able to attack on different things.
CEO Hope, I'm going to leave a comment. I'm going to leave a link to join us in the comments. Travis McCurdy, I think that's Tavares. I don't know how to say your name. If you go to your inbox, I left your link. If you would like to join, I'd be interested in talking to you because I know you ran against Shan Rhodes at one point, and I know you were targeted by her campaign in a way that that people might want to hear. But speaking of throwing your rocks and hiding your hand and not being smart, let's segue right on to this. Mr. McCurdy, check your inbox, come in, see your hope. I left that down there for you.
She'd take a toll road to get home.
You're not even allowing me to go straight.
Nobody's going that way, ma'am.
Okay, but listen to me. You're not understanding.
Okay. She's arguing. She's a commissioner, she said.
This interaction with an Orlando cop ended with District 5 Commissioner Shan Rhodes receiving this $164 traffic ticket.
Officer Ford is writing me a ticket right now.
You're impeding the flow of traffic, ma'am.
Rhodes cited for impeding traffic as more than 70,000 fans filed out of Camping World Stadium after the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl December 31st.
This is the best thing the city's come up with to try to make this work.
In an exclusive one-on-one interview Sunday, I sat with the commissioner going over the video of the confrontation. Rose just blocks away from her home, tried turning on Carter Street, which was blocked off by officers.
So I pull up my car and I say, "Hey, officer, I'm a Pamela resident. I live right down the street." He goes, "Man, I don't care."
She just told a lie, right? I had to pause that, y'all. Now, we heard what you said when you pulled up. You didn't say that. You know what I mean? Not in that tone anyway. She didn't say that.
You need to get on the highway and go home.
She says she called Police Chief Eric Smith to help navigate the issue. The department's public information officer said the chief wouldn't be available for an interview regarding the incident.
What would you say to anybody who may have accused you of using your position as commissioner to maybe get preferential treatment?
That's far from the truth. In fact, what you will hear, the officers kept cutting me off, and what you will hear in one segment, it says, "I'm the commissioner and I'm gonna get this policy fixed." I do one of those, like, I'm the commissioner, you can't fool me. Like, more so in that context, like, because there is supposed to be a route for residents to get home.
Rose says she's moved.
Lies.
Moving forward from this, looking to find ways to alleviate traffic concerns for her residents after major events.
Even if we have to go door to door and say, here's your map, that's what we are actively looking at doing to make sure that people can get home.
Hey, pause right there, David. See, and let me.
And I also asked the commissioner.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I've lived over there, close to the stadium, and what they were doing. I don't know if they're still doing it, but what they were doing was they were giving the residents a piece of paper, basically a colored piece of paper, and if you had that piece of paper, it would say that you were a resident and you were allowed to kind of go around some things to get to your, back to your residence. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened, obviously, since she's been in there, they haven't been coordinating and doing it properly. And had she had that piece of paper, or had they coordinated it in advance, then those officers would have known anybody that has this piece of paper up on the dashboard, let them go through their local resident. And so that's how they were doing it. I don't know how they did it that particular. I actually saw Shan out there that day after that, before the game. But obviously, I looked on a dashboard. I didn't see a piece of paper up there. So that's what they were doing to coordinate that for the local residents.
Okay. How do you say this guy's name? Is it Travaris? Travaris. Shit, I can't even motherfucking read. That's how you say it.
It's Tavares, I think.
Tavares. Because it say, anyway, Tavares, Mr. McCurdy. If you're still watching, tap in, if you will. CEO Hope, tap in. I inbox both of you guys a link. It's a link in the comment. Anybody else want to jump in? I'm looking for Randy Ross. Randy Ross, if you there, I would like you to tap in because everyone has a unique perspective. And Randy Ross can really give the people who are watching the perspective of what you talked about, of them moving us out as blacks, colors, niggas, if you will. But he can give you that perspective. And sometimes the white ice is a little colder. So Randy Ross, you there? Let me know. Now we had spoken some things, and like I said, I don't have everything organized. So sometimes y'all gotta forgive me if I move back and I find the documents. I hate to misspeak or misquote some of my sources. Now my sources say that Shan Rose is on the don't rehire list at City Hall. So as an employee, she is not to be rehired because allegedly, they haven't proved yet, I guess, she stole classified information and money. They said, according to my sources, not myself, she's currently under investigation for stealing money from the city of Orlando. Now, of course, I can't pull out and I can't prove that. I'm not even alleging that. I am saying that I've been told that by more than one source that those allegations are ongoing and that she was let go by the city for things of that nature, something along those lines.
The ironic thing about this Shan Rose situation, her and Regina, when we had our election, most of the candidates, they knew different things about Shan Rose. I didn't know anything about it. And let me tell you my first interaction with Shan Rose. When Regina was suspended by the governor, and they said that they were going to have a special election, I think it was 7 or 8 individuals popped up and said they were going to run for the office. And basically we had about 45 days, to campaign and to have an election to replace Regina while she was suspended. And, I didn't know, I knew very little about each of the candidates. Some of them, I knew Erica. I've met Erica before. And I think I might have known 1 or 2 other people, but I knew very little about them. And so, but as we came together as candidates, a lot of times, we would be talking behind the scenes with one another, and we would discuss whether we were going to, say negative things about the other candidates. And everybody pretty much agreed that we weren't going to do that. And the residents of District 5, you know, the homeowner association presidents and a lot of the elders in the community and community leaders, they didn't want to see us run that kind of campaign. And it was consensual, with Lawana, with Erica, with everybody, that we weren't going to do that. And so it was so shocking. And maybe you can get Tavares to come on, when the election.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him. I got CEO. I see you in the back. We're bringing CEO Hope in.
CEO Hope knows a lot about it as well. He knows what was going on.
Okay, so with that said, CEO Hope, let's bring it up. Let me get my applause. I'll be fucking up on this shit. I sure need somebody behind the scenes. Anybody want to be my person behind the scenes? I damn sure need one. I ain't worth shit. I tell you that. You know what I mean? All you get out of some free drink, unless you're an attractive lady. We work something out. You know what I mean? All right. You know what I mean? Hey, CEO Hope, did you hear what Cameron was talking about right there?
Yeah. So, y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So my thing is right. Everybody know I got personal ties to Shan. Everybody knows that, right? Do I agree with this shit that's going on? Nah, I don't. I have not said nothing about anybody on either platform, each side. Do I like the way Virginia's being treated? No, I do not. Do I like the way Shane taking herself through the motions? No, I do not. But a lot of times, man, a lot of people are following information that's not correct. If y'all want to know why Shane got fired from City Hall, there's a gag order. Y'all should go read it. But when y'all read it, y'all gonna be surprised who she was covering for. Now, I ain't gonna put that business out there, but she covered for somebody down there.
Oh, okay. You don't want to hear that, then. You can put the business out there.
You know why? David? That's not my business. It's not my business like that, David. But I can ask y'all one question. So anytime somebody go to Shan for a project that she knows is attack on them, I'm just asking.
Say that again. What's your question?
So I got a project right now going on in District 5. Have nothing to do with Shan at all. So I guess when it comes to the light, am I being attacked for putting a project in District 5 because I know her?
Why would we attack you for putting a project in District 5? As long as
because I'm gonna show you why. Because every time somebody went to her, I don't know the white guy, I don't know nothing about him. And a lot of people will not believe this. I have never met Trap in my fucking life. Never met Trap. Did I call her about him when I got worried about what's going on? I sure did.
What she said?
Listen.
You got a lot of non-answers. You are straight from nigga.
Listen, pillow talk is a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I got you.
We know how the game go. When you run your mouth and they start seeing you behind closed doors, they got you on a leash now. You better shut the fuck up. That's all it is. Y'all know how the game go. But you do what you do, you get what you get.
Well, you can't compare whatever you got going on, or Cameron has a business also in District 5 to a $1 billion development firm swearing her in. Why she let you to swear in? Hope? Oh, he done froze. I thought the nigga was staring at me like that. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? Hey, you froze, bro. You got bad. You always have a bad connection. You know what I mean? Carrie Fernord says you sound like a house nigga. All right, CEO, no, I'm gonna take you out and then come back in. We're gonna continue the conversation. But to answer your question while you're listening, you being a black resident, I believe, if you're from District 5, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? That would be different than someone who's a CEO of $1 billion company. Oh, his phone died. Get your stuff back together. Come on back in. You got the link. Just come in on your iPad or whatever. But you got a $1 billion developer CEO swearing in the commissioner. That seems like a conflict of interest to the non-millionaires and billionaires businesses in District 5. You know, I'm sure Cameron, as a business owner, feels threatened by a $1 billion white developer having the cachet to be able to swear the commissioner in. You know, his plans may not include his tax office. His plans might not include the park, include us blacks. You know what I mean? He is a MAGA supporter. Unless you believe that they're good and neutral, then we're talking about nothing. I'm going to say, if I'm talking to you right now, anybody's listening, you don't support MAGA. If you do, I almost said fuck you, but I don't want to cuss.
Well, let me put it in this context. You know, if you go back and look at the history of District 5, you know, if you go back into slavery and then the land that was given to the blacks on Paramore, the mayor at that time in 18 whatever it was
racist as shit, but keep going.
Yeah, it was a man named Captain Paramore. He had been in the Confederate Army, and he had given that area to the blacks so that they could, you know, work for the whites that were basically.
I want to give you your files, Cameron. Educate these niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that were basically on the other side of I-4. That's why, you know, everybody knows they got Division Avenue and whatnot.
Stop right there, Cameron. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
They named the street Division. They put the whites on this side and put the colors, some call them niggas, some call them niggers, on this side and call the line Division.
Correct.
Go ahead, Cameron.
So now on that Paramore, and that's why Paramore is, you know, a historical district, because, you know, it was given to blacks, and there were significant blacks throughout history, you know, from the 1850s up until the 1960s that had businesses, they had movie theaters there, they had museums, you know, they businesses and the like. And so, you know, the blacks, you know, they thrived, and that's how you get some of those areas like Crystal Lake and I forgot, you know, the 5 lakes that are over there, and those communities that are back there, the more affluent blacks, you know, they started Jones High School. Before that, it was that what's that school that's on that it's a rec center now on Paramore, but it used to be a school. And so, you know, there's a lot of rich history there. And so, you know, a lot of these Johnny-come-latelys to the area, they don't know anything about that. They don't know about the pride that, you know, blacks had in gaining what they've had, and they need to continue to, you know, to grow and build. But, you know, and that's what Regina's all about. Regina is from that area. She understands the history. She knows the pride. She went to the school. She knows the residents. She knows the families. She knows the struggles. She knows, you know, the development. And she's always tried to keep those principles intact when development is done in the area. She does it with that, or she did it with that in mind, to make sure that that integral part was somewhere still in there, to still give something for the blacks to be able to build and have their own area over there. But now you get a person like Shan Rose, she don't give a flying fuck about them people over there. She's not, her people are Caribbean or something. She could care less. Don't, a lot of times those Caribbean people, they, you know, they got self-esteem issues anyway. So she could care less the struggle that these people have gone through over here for the last 150 years. She don't care anything about it, and she's going to give it away to these whites that want to come in. It's nothing wrong. Now, Regina, this is one of the things Regina say. There's nothing wrong with partnershiping, you know, but there's not going to be any partnershiping, fooling around with Shan Rose. Shan is going to give it away for her own gain, for her gain. That's what she's going to get caught doing it, because she just, you know, she just ain't got it all. And she don't have good intentions in mind. She's not thinking about
and God don't like ugly.
Exactly.
Or her hairline.
Yeah,
God don't like her hairline either.
This is the difference.
Don't like yours, Cameron.
You know, people, you know, they talk about, oh, well, Regina this and Regina that. She might have drank over here. She might have did this or whatever. But Regina has the heart and the mind of the people in the forefront. And, you know, hey, we don't get into people what they do with their personal lives. You know, I don't want anybody in my personal life, and definitely Shan Rose don't want nobody in her personal life. You know, she wouldn't be carting around Mr. Right. But, you know, we're talking about what you're doing in that office and what you're doing for the people that put you there. Now, the district is changing. When I went out and campaigned with Regina and campaigned in my election, a lot of these senior living facilities, people don't know this. You know, they got a senior living facility right over there across from Lake Lana-Doone Park. You know, I thought it was all blacks in there. Man, you go up in there, it's probably 80% Hispanic in there.
Cameron, you speak on that, and you from Miami, right?
Correct.
I ain't from Miami. I done been there a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Made a couple trips back in the day. Remember Overtown?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect example.
What Overtown look like right now, Cameron?
High-rise condos, Marriott, JW Marriotts. You know, the whole nine. But
and not too long ago, Cameron, like I said, you know, I don't know when you left there. Like I say, I used to visit there in the early 90s on vacation. Yeah, I was on vacation a few times, you know, once or twice a week sometimes. Anyway, but Overtown used to be, you know what? Tell them what Overtown used to be. You show them what it is now. Tell them what Overtown used to be. Y'all tell them not familiar.
Well, let me tell you about Overtown, because you know I grew up in Miami. Okay, I went to school. I went to elementary school on Miami Beach in 1970, maybe about 1975 or something like that. So I went to school on Miami Beach. They had just started integrating the public schools in Miami, and so on Miami Beach, the Jews went to school. You know, the Jews lived on Miami Beach at that time. This before South Beach and all of that stuff. And so used to have a black person in the early 70s used to have a pass to go over on Miami Beach. Well, those rich white people on Miami Beach, they had maids and whatnot that, you know, worked in their homes. And a lot of the maids and servants and gardeners and, you know, what the Mexicans do today, and the laborers came from Overtown. They lived Overtown, and then, you know, they travel over to Miami Beach and work. So, you know, but here's the thing about that, you know, and this happens everywhere. And this is why people, you know, your officials like Regina are so important. When blacks have the opportunity to do something in an area, a lot of times, you know, number one, we got crime in the area. So what the white man do basically is, you know, he comes in and he takes all of the young men out of the area during the drug era and stuff like that. You know, I came along during that time, and you know what the whites did was they came and took all the young black men out of the community that were aged 20 to 40. They just took them all, rounded them up, and put them all in federal prison. Now these were your barbershop owners, your car wash owners, your convenience store owners, you know, your music store owners, you know, your nightclub owners. These were all your entrepreneurs in the community. So they took them all out, and what did they leave? They left the elderly people and the young kids. So the young kids, they're not gonna have any type of mentorship, you know, to know how to come up and produce for themselves and use their community and spend amongst themselves and work amongst themselves. They didn't know how to do that, you know. So because they took all of that out, you know, on the guise of selling drugs. You know, a lot of people say, well, selling drugs, it was a bad thing for the community. No, the bad thing was for the community is that the white man came and took everything, took the money, he takes all the money, and then he takes the bodies out of there. And so that's the bad thing for the community. So, you know, because when it happens in the white community, like with the opioid incidents and whatnot, they're not going to remove the young people out the community. They're going to keep them right there and say, oh, well, we got to get them some help, and we got to have programs for them, and we got to do all of this. So, you know, we as blacks, we have to start understanding and recognizing these tricks that they use. And one of the main things they use are politicians that are black face,
but have no ties, no culture,
correct,
no understanding of the history. Now,
correct.
and just to show a parallel, even with yourself. We often compare Shan to Regina, but we compare Shan to the amount of knowledge that you just gave right now. And if someone can tag me in the video or some type of situation where Shan reiterated or uttered those type of things. I've seen Regina who's uttered some of these same things that you've uttered, but we have someone who doesn't not only know the history of Orlando, but really don't know the history of this type of systematic takeover of Black communities. They're lost. Like I say, when you being from island base, and y'all niggas know them islanders, goddamn it, I ain't got to. Let me stop being so proper with you guys. Y'all know how them goddamn islanders act, how they talk about niggas. You know what I'm saying? Now they going north. You know what I mean? If you're island out there, you know what the fuck we're talking about too. So you're thinking that right now. You know what I mean? I was raised by islanders. Right? So I'm part Haitian. For those who don't know, my granddad Haitian. So yeah. I know how they talk about you, niggas. I this is don't talk about you.
Well, and I mean, you get some of the island communities, and some of them, you know, some of them have that ingrained with them where they stick together, and there's nothing wrong with that. But clearly, you don't have that in this particular case. You know, clearly, you know, I mean, you have community leaders and representatives that, you know, I mean, Shan's taking the money from them, you know, and directing it in other places, directing it out of the district. You know, the same thing that she made in that complaint. You know, the food is going somewhere else and whatnot. So, you know, the only thing I tell people, they got to watch out.
I'm going to let you continue your history of this. I'm just going to throw some pointers in there, or some adds to that. Now, in the 70s, when I-4 was developed, you know, they chose to bring it right on through good old Paramore. So that's why you got I-4 there now. Now, that was done because they didn't want it going through the other side of the division. You know what I mean? So they drove I-4 and all that construction, all them highway, all that noise, they come right through the Black neighborhood. I think I read somewhere where they moved some churches out the way there to get that highway through there. A lot of families got displaced at that time to get that through there, and they left you on the side of the highway. Now, as time goes on, you know, like I said, God ain't making no new dirt. You know, that's all we got. And this land has now become very valuable. We got the arena coming there. We got, hey, this thing looking real good. So through the system, back in the day, they you know, it was less. They come through, just throw you out, you know, knock your house down. But now they're gonna move you out financially, you know what I mean, through taxes and things of that nature. So oftentimes we think like the redevelopment, and we're gonna have to the redevelopment. I'm not saying that redevelopment is needed. Redevelopment can be a good thing, but if we have redevelopment without no what is it? If they ain't gonna give us nothing out of it, I'm searching for words. Fuck that. I forgot I ain't talking to no educated crowd. If they don't give you nothing for, we ain't getting no get back. They coming through building on our backs. They stuck us over here, shitted on us for decades, and then they just come back and move us out the way. That, oh yeah, we need that now. You just gonna go on over here and move away. Now, someone like Regina was there to make sure that although it's hard to stop the winds of change, that we can also benefit from this change as business owners, as construction workers, as nurses, hospitality, making sure that when you do build these new things in this new infrastructure, that we can benefit it off it financially with jobs, businesses, and things of that nature. Go ahead, Karen.
Well, yeah, and that's the saying that Regina said. You know, they were going, you know, they're going to come through there in the next few years, and you know, they're going to spend about $2 billion, or maybe as much as $4 billion in the area, and we're not going to have not one Black millionaire. You know,
I think the term Regina used was equality and inclusion. That's what she said. Equality and inclusion. That's what the fuck. I mean, that's what we need. Mm-hmm.
But you know, back to the point that you were making. You know, you have to understand the history of Orlando and Central Florida. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, the Johnny come latelys. And, you know, I've seen the change from
Roses.
Yeah, I've seen the change from the 70s on up. And, you know, like my grandparents, you know, a lot of the Blacks that came here, they were migrant workers. You know, Central Florida was nothing but orange groves, you know, 50 years ago. And so most of these people, you know, were migrant workers and those types of things. And, you know, since the economy has changed, you know, Disney came here, you know, in the early 70s, you know, and other technology and tourism and those type of things that come here. The blacks haven't been able to keep pace with that, you know, and benefit from those things. And most of those developers, whether it was Disney, whether it was other things pertaining to tourism, whether it was tech and whatnot, they keep the blacks on the very, very low end of everything. They're not in upper management for the most part, not in numbers. You know, they're going to have a black face here and there, but, you know, the majority of them are going to be on the very, very low end. But what the black communities have always done very well is, you know, supplying and catering to ourselves, you know, having our own restaurants, having our own barbershops, having our own, you know, car dealerships, you know, having our own things like that where we spend amongst, but, you know, hey, it's gotten so bad, you know, how many black restaurants are there in District 5? You know, I'm talking about brick and mortar. You know, everybody has a food truck, but there might only be maybe about 3 or 4, you know, sit-down establishments. You know, I don't think there's a black man that owns a convenience store in District 5. There's not one. I mean, you know, the Indians, you know, I know an Indian lady, she owns like 7 of them, you know, and these things, people really don't understand, you know, the money that's generated in these things every day, people coming up there, you know, $2 to $5 to $10, you know, to store to death, you know, and they coming up there doing, you know, $2,000 and $3,000 a day like that, you know, but they take all of that wealth and take it back home, you know, and educate their children and send their children to college. And, you know, the patrons that are going in the store, these people really give back nothing to the community for the most part. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but this is the mechanics of it. And so, you know, these are the things that we need to be addressing in the community, you know, in order to see real change. And you watch what Sharon Rose has done. Just go back and look at District 5 page and watch and see where Sharon Rose go. Listen, you got a guy, Mr. Gene, that's right there on Church Street and right across from the soccer stadium. I don't know. They say he's been over there since the 70s serving breakfast. They just painted the building, but, you know, she's never thought to see how you can, you know, maybe upgrade this guy's establishment because he's feeding all the people in the community. This man gets up every day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and feeds the community. You know,
or better yet, make sure his business stays there. His stays there when those $1 billion developments take place by those MAGA supporters who swore her in. You know what I mean? And instead of the campaign being about Regina Hill and whatever you may say or think about her, it should be more people asking the hard questions like, is she going to provide tax protection for people who own homes there previously? Because as new high rises and everything develop, property taxes will go up. You know what I mean? And that'll be, you know, if you think you're lonely now, God damn it, wait until the night. You know what I mean? If you think you can't afford to stay there now, you wait till they keep building around you. And those property taxes go up. Things like the guy you just talked about, Mr. Gene, I believe you said, he needs to be protected from those taxes going up because, you know, he was here when nobody wanted to be here. You know, he kept this thing going when nobody else was around. So now he gets punished for, you know, basically like first your business could get punished for basically, hey, you kept this shit alive for so long, and now hey, watch out. Let me get that. You know what I mean? Get them out the way. You know?
Well, you know, I mean, it's our job too as citizens or business owners to stay, you know, on top of things, and you know, you roll with the changes. And after COVID, in the tax business, I just really saw where it was going mostly remote. You got things like TurboTax and stuff like that. So, I don't rely on the brick and mortar anymore. But, these communities, they have a significance. They have a history. They have our predecessors that, bought these properties. They worked hard and worked in the orange groves. A lot of, I don't know about you, David, if you ever been in an orange grove and worked before, but I've been to the orange grove with my granddaddy, when he was alive.
I did too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was back-breaking work, and back in the 70s, my granddaddy was 80 years old and could still go out there and fill up 10 tubs in a day, and still make $100 a day back then, doing that hard work in the orange groves. And they would take that money and buy property, to pass down to, their children and their children's children, and to have all of that taken away. It's not, a lot of times you can't look at what you did. You got to look at what your ancestors did, and how hard it was for them, to acquire this stuff, and then just have it taken away, in a twinkling of an eye, it's sad.
Yeah. Let me hold on a second. I'm gonna let me send this link out. Let me see if I can get her on. Maybe she'll join. I think she might be watching and can reiterate on some of this. But we'll try to get Regina in here.
Regina on here.
Regina, if you're watching, I sent you a link in your inbox. Come on in. But while we're waiting on her to come in, I read plans. I've seen plans of them putting the luxury apartments around Lake Lana Doom. And I know you niggas know Lake Lana Doom just for being Lake Lana Doom, place to hang out, and that's all we use it for, place to hang out, or drink, whatever. But that that's gonna be gone. And those type of developments and those type of things coming to the communities is really gonna make it more expensive to live there. Regina Hill, we give you a round of applause. Welcome.
Hey, good evening. I kind of tapped in a few minutes ago and was hearing about Paramore. I'm most definitely not here to, you guys can do that very well, I see. I'm not here to talk about Shane Rose. I'm here to kind of straighten a little bit of the narrative about Paramore and District 5 up. Okay. So Paramore, the one that's just the 60s, it was the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, where Paramore had, especially had home ownership. Of course, we had similar to those guys that you're talking about, they owned what we now call affordable low income housing. But it was, and when I say them, Mr. Bill, the Cowherds of the world, the Lufties, you know, uh, but primarily before uh, even 408 and all of that came through. Those were a few apartments, of course, in Carver Park, but Paramount Village was home ownership. All where you see Creative Village, those were black people homes, and they owned them. All the way to the Greyhound bus station to Trailways. Now there was some, I say, squalor conditions because there wasn't no AC, wasn't no heat, block walls, no type of ventilation, poor plumbing. Um, and I lived in those. Me and my brother and my mama, 2 bedroom, first 1 bedroom, then 2 bedroom. That's why I was so huge on adequate housing. So, but those were not just maids. My mama worked at the bank, at Sunbank at that time. Then it went to SunTrust, and now we call it Truist. Some of them just did not have home ownership over in Washington Shores or Clear Lake, we didn't stay in Rock Lake. Black people didn't stay in Rock Lake back then. When black people started moving to Rock Lake, they did white flight, even though, and now they're coming back. But Sunset, those were your black teachers, your black doctors, lawyers. We had lawyers and teachers in Paramore as well. So it's something similar to the model that I did now, which is called mixed income. It was a community. We had our barbershops, we had our pool halls, we had our record stores, we had the nightclubs, just the same thing that you were seeing happen in Miami. Uh, uh, it hit us in the 90s because people started getting hooked on cocaine rock. And that's how they came in. And some of them went to prison. Their taxes was fell behind. They was able to take their homes. The other portion of the homes that was took from black people was code enforcement, the city of Orlando. That's why the city of Orlando owns some of the most of the lots in Paramore. It was done by code enforcement. They couldn't bring their houses up to code, so they get 200 and some dollars a day, and then all of a sudden they got a lien, and then they push it down. So, excuse me, I'm not in this weather all day in basketball conditions. But so I wanted to say that's the pride of Paramore. That's the rich history. Of course, we had our migrant workers stay right next door to the teacher, right? Go down there to Dixie Doodle, Greenie Parrot, get on your bus. Some of them went to pick apples, peaches, come back home. They had the families, a lot of single parents too.
Regina, I
But
just want to cut you off real quick. We got Magdala St. John saying, you really know the history of your district. That speaks volumes. And that's what I was talking about when I came in talking.
So that's why I came back. Many people don't know I was a nurse for 25 years and was nursing till I got to City Hall. Kept nursing almost 8 months until as being the commissioner. But I felt like I needed to dedicate all my time to my purpose of coming back to help my community because it was still in poor conditions. People look at District 5 now, they don't remember 12 years ago when I first got in District 5 what it looked like. It was ran down apartments on Orange Center being condemned. It was ran down apartments on Mercy Drive being condemned. There was no
They
type of
condemned
housing in Paramore.
Little Giants boxing gym.
Yeah, right there on Church,
Yeah,
Mike Bell.
that's why I
So,
learned the box at Little
yeah.
Giants.
So, and there was no housing in Paramore, period, when I first got in the office. So I got with the mayor, got with Byron Brooks, and said I had a 100-day plan when I came in there. It all was accomplished, but it needed to be enhanced, and that's what I was working on. So we work with community partners. I like I said, um, some developers, the state of Florida, HUD, also Florida financing that contribute to it. And I didn't want to just make apartments where people felt like they had to um be on Section 8 or what you call it now, I don't know, the welfare, what to get a check in order to keep lodging for their children. I wanted them to be able to go to school and try to get a skill set so eventually they can get a home. And so with that, partner with Valencia, that's why you have a college and university and free child care in the Paramore. That's why you got it in Mercer Drive. So I just want to say that there's a lot of great history and pride. There's a lot of work. People, say all kind of horrible things about me, and that's okay. But off of community partnerships, we the people working with neighborhood partners, HOAs, and getting guidance from them, and advocating for that. People just didn't give you that. They want the land. They don't want no poor Negroes or poor folks staying there. That's what they were telling me. Matter of fact, they gave me a book and told me the same people she with gave me a book and said, "You are hurting them." And you know what that meant? I am hurting Black people or poor people by helping them and giving them wraparound
You
services
said it was
to
a
get out of
book. It
poverty.
was a book they gave you.
Yeah, they came to my office and gave me a book and talk because they was upset because I will advocate for the people and not do these high rises, or I was creating affordable housing in Paramore. They didn't want me to do that. They
Wow.
say I'm hurting people. And so, and that's fine. You know, what I did was, I hope, and even on days when I'm not feeling, you know, all that well, I ride through District 5. When people try to bash me on Facebook, you know what I do? I get in the car and I go look at my work and see people walking, people enjoying life off the fruits of my labor over at Lake Lana Dune, Luminary Green, swimming over at with brand new pool over at Northwest Center, seniors going into their buildings, children playing that was homeless. So I just want to go on and say that. I'm gonna get on off.
And one more thing I want to ask for you when you get off. I want you to let the folks know, because I know a lot of people don't know. Like you started some things, and you worked with some developers, and you worked on what some would call revitalization of Paramore.
That's what I call it, revitalization.
Yeah. So with that, you know, like I said, it could be a bad thing.
One more minute. And so you talked about the Black businesses or the squat, you know, some of the storefronts being in poor condition, Cam. So prior to me leaving office, and it's in place right now, it's just getting this information to the community. So a landlord can get up to $420,000 from downtown all the way to Paramore to rehab their building, their commercial building, and they get a additional amount if it's a minority, right? And it's for that business or for that building. So those folks in there, they got those capabilities, and you can get $50,000. And guess what? With that 400 and some $1,000, what I put in there, you can get rent abatement out of that. So up to 6 months, you can get on your feet. And then it's a $50,000 grant called Amoeba that you can get to help you get your equipment. But your landlord can do that too. They can just stack it out for you to make it to where your business is thriving. And there was a plan for Mr. Jean. I went down there, over there by across from the soccer stadium. So we have a whole master plan for his building. Now, see, those things aren't being focused on. That's where I'm saying about the work. Those things are in place, and it's just like the 10 homes I was building. They haven't been completed. And they were homes where it would be a certain set aside for market rate, another one for 60%, and then low income. And the city is the one that put the, you know, how much it's gonna cost. We can say 300,000. I already have put in 5 million to build those 10 homes, right? And so we give up. Hopefully the program is still intact. She haven't talked about it. I ain't talk about it, but those homes aren't completed yet. And it's $150,000 down payment assistance program that I put in place for it to be affordable for those that are workforce, you know, employees, our city employees, our law enforcement, our teachers. Because she's a city employee, she was able to get one of them a long time ago to run against me. But I just want go ahead with your question, but I wanted to let you know those programs.
You basically handled it right there. I was going to throw that out there. Yeah, you got it right there. Some of the things you implemented that I know about a lot of people don't know. Let the media tell it. You down there drinking and carrying on and doing all that type of, you know, that's what, you know.
It's two affordable projects. I put together before I left. I won't cut the ribbon on them, but right there in Creative Village is another affordable complex. And the reason they're pricing folks out, especially those that the city helped put funding towards and gave preference, is nobody there to advocate. Because there's some parameters that's in those contracts that they can't do that.
Yeah.
I knew, and I would keep my foot on the neck. So knowing is half the battle. But you got to go and look for you got to go study instead of run around taking.
They got to have somebody that is willing to fight for those things that are in those contracts, those clauses.
And you got to read. You got to read the documents. The first thing I would have did is went and looked at every project. That's what I did, and got briefed.
If these folks out here think for 1 minute that the person who is being sworn in by the same person.
I'm getting ready to get off. I'm gonna get off.
Yeah. All right, Regina. I got to go and talk this shit.
Yeah. All right.
Now, if you guys think for 1 minute that the same person in that red right there that put her hand on the Bible to swear in with that $1 billion guy over there in the suit there is going to have your best interest in mind. She chose the person who we should be looking out for. The only person who can take those things that Regina just talked to you about away from you is the same person. Cameron, that's the only person that can take them away is the developer.
Correct.
If you think the developer is going to act in the best interest of you versus his investors, his board of directors, you know what I mean, and not try to get those things back from you so they can profit more, you're dumber than you look. You know,
and looking at that picture, I don't know where everyone lives in that picture, but I'm willing to bet that not one single person on that picture lives in District 5, including Sharon Rose. She don't live there. She has a house in District 5, but that's not where she's living at. So I don't think not one person in the picture lives in District 5. So, you know, that just goes to show you her closeness and her relationship to her constituents. There is none. You know, she's gonna pick and do a couple of things here and there and whatnot, but you know, hey, the residents, you know, the only thing I can say for them is, you know, you're gonna get what you ask for, you know, and you know, for the ones that did choose that, you know, you're gonna get what you ask for.
Like I said, we're gonna make posts and share things. I'm gonna tell y'all one thing. Next time you get down there, you're in the face of you, ask them something. Ask them if they're gonna uphold those them clauses in the contract they get supposed to give you the right to return as the Black community. You know, it's right to return clauses in some of these development deals that were precipitated and started under Commissioner Hill. That now those clauses can be skirted around, signed out, forgiven, looked over, because initially the developers had to promise. I'm just gonna say Regina, but the district. They had to promise Regina in the district certain things to get access to the land, access to the money to revitalize. Now, if I'm swearing you in and I'm in bed with you politically, financially, why do I have to give anything back? I can just say, yeah, don't worry about that, Chan. I got it, you know, right here. You know, I'm going to swear you in next time we get you in too. Until they get to the point where eventually she'll find out they don't need her anymore. Right now, you need a Black face because it's a Black community. Yeah. Once that community turns white and Hispanic,
you're gonna get a Black nigga. You're gonna get a white or Hispanic.
Out of here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? She'll be caught in a scandal or something. You got to get out of here.
Yeah. Let me say this one thing, David. Well, black people don't understand. You know, a lot of times we don't have money, we don't have resources. A lot of us don't have property. You know, but there's one thing that they give you, one thing that the white man gives you, or this country gives you, you know, and they try to take it away. And the blacks, you know, they look very, they don't really pay attention to it a lot, but it's that ability for that unanimous vote, and it's very, very powerful. Blacks don't use it on two fronts. They don't use it when they voting for their officials to represent them, and they don't use it in a courtroom. You know, they don't use the most powerful weapon that they have to keep things in their interest until they can overcome or achieve. You know, a black person sits on a jury, they'll convict another black person with at the drop of a dime, when they don't realize their one vote can stop a black man from going to prison, or a black woman from going to prison. You know, just that one vote can stop it. But we don't think like that.
And then we had that chance to get that one, not to cut you off, Ken. We had that one chance to get that one vote to change. And instead of doing us how they unjustly done us throughout the history of the United States, we get our black ass up there and say, well, he is right. Man, fuck him being right. You should say that motherfucker right. And he black. You know what I'm saying? You should take that position and say, boy, this is my goddamn time to shine. Do your thing. You saw how the 12 jurors looked at Rodney King and said not guilty. You saw how they did. Goddamn, we got it every time they do it. So when you get your position, you want to be right. You want to weigh the evidence. Man, fuck that evidence. You know what I'm saying? Sit right there like you listening. I'm talking to all you potential juries. Sit there right there and say, boy, now if he did something to kids, some you know, hey, you don't fuck the 12-year-old now, hang his ass. If you don't fuck the 12-year-old, go in and hang him. But anything outside of that, you know what I'm saying? Or if he murdered somebody, I don't agree with murdering people. But you know, you on the jury for something else, drugs, hey, yeah, I'm listening. And right when they say, what's your vote? Nah, send him home. I don't think so. I don't think he did it.
Yeah. And you know, another thing about us, what we tend to do, you know, I look at my case, and it's amazing that we don't hold the people accountable, you know, mostly your white leaders, you know, for the condition that the blacks are in. You know, they always like to throw on us, well, look at the condition you all in. You call no. Y'all been the leaders. You've been the resource controller. You've been the gatekeeper the whole time. You're the reason that we in this condition. Yeah. Because if you didn't want us to be in this condition, you know, we wouldn't be in this condition. You don't want LeBron James to be in this condition because he producing for you. So you don't want Shaquille O'Neal to be in this position because he producing for you. But me, you want me to be in this position because you ain't doing anything for me. You're not allowing me to. You're not partnering with me. You're not doing any of those things. So you know that's the very first thing that we have to look at. And then, you know, they come at us with the same old tricks. I mean, you know, I've been here over 50 years, and it's the same trick year after year. You know, the same, you know, like what they're doing with the politician, how they move into the area, how they move, you know, the other people out the area. You know, how they gonna control, not give, don't allow certain people to control. They're gonna keep you in debt for the most part. You know, Sharon Rose, when they put, I don't remember the exact number, but they put like an extra 15 red light cameras in the district. You know, who you think gonna be riding? You know, getting the tickets. You know, and then they'll try to convince you to think that, well, you know, that's dangerous that they ran the red light. You know, but hey, if it's dangerous over here in District 5, it got to be dangerous in Winter Park. Why you not putting them over there? Those people can afford to pay for the ticket.
They already remember Winter Park back in the day. You know what I'm saying? They had the square in Winter Park.
Yeah. Hannibal Square.
You go down there, get your hair cut, buy you some bootleg this, buy you some of that. You know what I mean? It was a hangout. It was dangerous. You don't get out of the square before 5 o'clock. You know what I mean? Not that we want a dangerous area, But I'm just saying the change that happened in that same time you talk about Winter Park now, we don't even think Winter Park like that. You know what I mean? Because they revitalized it and said, okay, you can stay, but what is Winter Park now? Where our faces at? What the niggas at down there? You know what I mean? You know, you got like one church over there fighting against it. You got one church when got away. I think they recently might have sold out, I believe.
They had that same thing happen on Church Street. They had the one church next to the soccer stadium, you know, and they held out for maybe about 10 years, but you know, they eventually
Which one was that? Was it Callahan, or is that still around?
Callahan's still over there. Callahan is what I was talking about earlier that started off as a school. But no, they had a church that was right there. Now they've torn the church down.
Yeah.
It's an open field right now, but they, you know, obviously they have something that they're gonna build over there.
It's the open field owned by that same motherfucker who had Shane hand on that Bible. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know I got a little land over there. I need you to go ahead and do that little dance for me. You know what I mean?
And it's nothing, it's nothing wrong with it if they, like Regina said, if they will partner with the people. But these people are greedy, man. They want it all for themselves and for their people. And they're not gonna partner with you. They're not gonna give you nothing.
We gotta have somebody in that camera who say, "Go ahead and do your thing. We can't stop change." It was a lot of bullshit going on over here. We need some change. We don't want to see people dying by. We don't see drugs. But when you're making that change, why not hire Cameron to do it? He's get your black contractor. Make sure your contractor say, 30%, 40%, 50% of your workforce got to be black and from the area. You know what I mean? Don't go out and get all the cheap Mexicans and tell your partners, don't send the ICE agent and say, yeah, I'm building. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't tell them, don't send them down here yet till I'm finished building. Then we can get them a body. I need them to build this thing up and basically use us and with disposable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then they'll have us on here making it about the petty shit that we developed about. Oh, she talked about her child. She, you know what I'm saying? We talking about petty shit, and I ain't gonna vote for Regina because the way she, you know what I'm saying? Like the things that they turn our culture and what we are against us. You know what I mean? How many of y'all goddamn aunties, grandmas were in the church? I ain't gonna say motherfuckers. They drank. They smoke, you know what I'm saying? They cuss, you know what I mean? But they turn what we are and make it a bad thing. So when you see someone in position have a drink or cuss or just do something that, hell, not that we do as a whole, but shit go down. And then they turn that into, you got disqualified this motherfucker. He acted too black. You know what I'm saying? The girl just said, you got a Modelo shirt on. We can't take you serious. See how they treat a nigga?
Yeah.
I mean, you black, Cameron. You can't have, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got gold teeth. You know what I'm saying? They turn what we are against us. You know what I mean? Like, and it's bad enough they damn sure ain't finna stand up for us. But then we say, oh, nigga do got a Modelo shirt. He do got gold teeth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm sure, nothing to say about the young lady that made the comment. I'm accustomed to that. But I'm sure if I was a Hispanic man, with the Modelo shirt on and said that I represent, I'm a Modelo dealer, regional, whatever, it'd be just fine. They'd be paying attention and figuring out what they could gain from it or what have you. So, it's sad. I always say this, one of the things that kills us, with social media, I mean, everybody has an opinion, but that doesn't mean that opinion needs to be publicized all the time.
Yeah.
And with social media, they attack Regina and whatnot, and everybody has their opinion. And, and then the media kind of fuels that same thing. And, just a lot of times it just works to our detriment. It's not really to our benefit, and that's why, I support people like, you and what you're trying to bring to the community, because, you're trying to bring, accurate facts, you back them up. And there are things that are actually important to the people. Maybe sometimes you get off on some BS.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm a nigga, Cam. I'm a nigga.
Yeah. Well, it's entertaining. And the Negroes, we've been raised like that. We
and
like to jump up and
reprogram.
down and
Yeah.
jiggle the balls and do all of those things. We like entertainment. And so, you know, I watch it too. You know, when I'm working, I might have my phone right there and I'm on the live listening and laughing too, you know, or what have you. But, you know, when it's, you know, we still, as a community, we need to get core principles. You know, sometimes, you know, last night I was looking at, you know, Chicago and the young kids up there, you know, and you know, they just all over the place. Wow, but in those games, they have core principles. If you listen to those kids, now, I'm not saying they right, but they do stick to principles. They do have codes that they stick to. I think down here in the South, you know, man, somebody needs to write a manuscript and say, well, you know, hey, all Black folks, we need to make sure we have these core principles. Now, you can have all the other things that you want to have, but at least we stick to this, you know, and all the other races basically have that intact in their culture. You know, the Asians, they know what the playbook is. You know, the Indians, they know what the playbook is. They know when they get over here what they're supposed to be doing. You know, the Hispanic, the Cubans, you know, the Jamaicans, all of them know what the playbook is. We're the only people that we just really don't have a playbook and we're not operating about it. We just all over the place, you know, and that's part of our problem.
And you hit it on something there. I had talked about it earlier on my page. As you know, and everybody watches the show know, that I have a little back and forth thing with guy Mario Hicks.
Yeah.
We had a guy who had the page called a Pop Comodes, who not just today and yesterday, he constantly defames Mr. Hicks, talks about him, you know, him, because, you know, he got a problem with some other people over there, and I don't want to get into their problems. But my point of that is that when I say something, people come at me, they come on my page, they call me all type of names, they want a box. You know what I mean? If I have a political opinion or if I call out someone's wrongdoing, they want a box. Mr. Hicks want to sue me. You know what I mean? But when the same white man does it, nobody says a thing. You know what I mean? Not one person. My post will get 40, 50, 75 people. You know what I mean? You know, 25 of them agree with me, 50 of them, they talking negative about me, you know what I mean? And they mad at me for the same things. I ain't saying I'm right or wrong, but if you're going to be mad at me, you should be over there mad at him too. But they don't, you know what I mean? If somebody goes sue me, Mr. Hicks, they should be suing him too. He said the same bad things or worse, but it's what you pointed to right there. We go, you know, hell. Like Vershawn just said, Black people don't know how to stay on the code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We hold ourselves at a different standard in a bad way than we hold everyone else. And when everybody else sticking together. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, or like I say, wrong is wrong over there. You know what I mean? In most cases, not in the Trump era, not the MAGAs. Shit, wrong ain't shit. You know, so just kept that goddamn man up there in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, he shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? So they're a whole different breed. They hell. MAGA acting like niggas, right? You know, but you know, yeah, but in general though, they'll call a spade, right is right, wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call it even because that's what I do. You know what I mean? I keep it even. I call it even straight across the field, or at least try to. You know, I can be a little one-sided, but I'm human. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, well, you know, one thing, saying something about Trump, one of the things, you know, I like about Trump, you know, what the blacks really need to be paying attention to, you know, he's showing you, you know, he's basically making a mockery of all the things that have controlled blacks, you know, their entire lives, you know, whether the main two things is religion and government, you know, and in the government, they do it through the police. And so, you know, you can look at somebody like Trump and see that, you know, he has no regard for it. You know, for him, it doesn't exist. For him and the people that think like him and the people that are in control, he'll show you right in your face. See what the Democrats do is they've always, you know, held these things up into esteem the blacks and say, hey, you need to be subject to this. You need to be subject to the government, its leaders, its law enforcement, and religion. you know, and whatever those things tell you to do, stay in those places and whatnot. And so, and they've always put on an appearance as though they were doing it, but behind the scenes, they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now you get a guy like Trump, and he comes out and just lets you know right from the rip.
He takes behind the scene and put it in your face.
Yeah, I don't see none of that shit. I just it's whatever I want to do, however I want to do it.
And when I want to change the rules, I'm gonna change them right here.
Exactly.
It was just saying NRA, carry your guns. As soon as they fuck up and they go the other way, oh yeah, bitch, you can't carry no guns now. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? You
it's not that you can't have a gun. You can't have a gun when he's trying to do what he's trying to do.
Exactly.
You know, your gun's not important.
If you're on his side, you can have a gun.
Yeah.
The Rittenhouse said he can bring a gun to the protest, but if you against me, don't bring a gun, or you inciting violence. You ready for some smoke?
Correct.
Salonica says Trump ain't doing shit but trying to beat Obama numbers from 2000. Obama been getting people deported. Trump a Gemini. He don't give a fuck, just like I don't.
Yeah.
Salonica, I got to get you on the show, too. We still got to have a sit down. I need some of your perspectives. Damn, I should have had you in here tonight. It's getting a little late. I want to bring you here at the end. But, hey, Cameron, we didn't get to talk about one thing, and Salonica, you come back on this, too. We didn't get to talk about the court ruling by the judge. That goddamn bullshit. I want to get in that. That's going to take a deeper breakdown, Cameron. I'm going to invite you back. I respect your intellect. I believe that those who watching do as well. And we're going to break that down because it's not just so much of black and white as, you know, the judge said. But with that said, though, niggas sure enough pick and choose when they want to believe the judge, huh? When it's free tater head, the judge ain't worth shit. You know what I'm saying? But when the judge go against Regina, well, the judge said, not now the goddamn judge just, you know what I'm saying? The judge is the motherfucking, the real judge. You know what I mean? You know, always said itself. That's the imitation judge. I'm talking about the real judge, the judge from up above.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot went on with that court ruling. People don't understand that. I mean, you know, they
you was there.
Yeah, they never
were there. They don't know how that shit went. Like, goddamn. It was like walking in, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna schedule another day to talk about it. But it was like walking in saying, tonight, Mayweather fight Pacquiao. And then you Mayweather, you walking in, you get in the ring, bitch, it's Pacquiao. It's goddamn, you know, a couple more mother Shane Mosley here. You know what I mean? Like goddamn, I thought I was supposed to be fighting him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my whole game plan was for him. Now you don't jump on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the ref, I'm looking at the ref say, hey, the ref say, fight. Like, you said you want to be here and fight. So that's basically to sum it up for y'all. That's what happened there. We're gonna break that down on another time. Maybe we'll break it out close to the weekend. You know what I mean? We'll get on here and break it down sometime before the weekend, because we got to break it down. It's getting kind of far away from us. It's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Summertime, then we might break that thing on down, because you know you got some insight, I got some insight, and I'm sure the people want to hear what happened, and they can draw their own conclusion based on facts, not opinions.
Yeah,
facts and courtroom facts and things that happen, and really help you break down the legal teas of some of the jargon that was handed down in the decision that went in Shannon Rhodes' favor. You know what I mean? So we got to come back and do that. I thought we had time to do it here, but you gave a good historic. Let me get goddamn another round of applause here. You gave a good historic backdrop of what's going on. Yes. And you know, that was very educational. That took a turn. I wasn't prepared for that, but I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed that. So again, I'll give you another round of applause. God damn, my applause though.
Yeah, well, you know, all they have to do is go look up Captain Paramore. You know, they can, you know, Edenville is the same thing with Captain Eden. You know, these places were given to the blacks here, and the blacks here were very entrepreneurial. You know, there were some black leaders that led the black communities and helped the black communities thrive in Edenville and Orlando. And so, you know, and they had a thriving black community in Ocoee, you know, and in 1923, you know, the whites came and massacred, you know, the whole community and ran them all off from over there. So, you know, in this area, you know, these are some of the things that, you know, our ancestors, you know, they fought for, died for, bled for. You know, that massacre over in Ocoee was all about voting. You know, the same thing, you know, I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Milton or something. The man who kicked that whole thing off. And, you know, they eventually massacred and took those blacks' property over there. But, you know, and it was just standing up for the right to vote. And like I say, you know, what is it? You know, 100 years later, 100 and something years later, we still not I mean, we got the right, we got the power, and we just not using it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. They got our kids trapped on TikTok and Zeus Network. They got their mamas and daddies trapped on Zeus Network and TikTok. And you know, not only they feeding your lies and propaganda to confuse you, you can't have no choice but to believe the lies because you don't know the truth. And if you knew the truth, the lies will be harder to believe. You know what I mean? Get your ass out and vote. Hey, Cameron, appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, I appreciate
you coming through. CEO Hope, appreciate
you. Let me throw a little ad in there. It's tax season, First Hope Financial. You need to get your taxes done. Hey, get with me, DM me, get your free estimate. See what I can do for you. I guarantee you I can do anything anybody else can do. We all produce the same numbers. You know, it's just about, you know, who's going to treat you right. So
keep your ass out of jail. Who ain't gonna steal your goddamn PIN number and your social security
information and all of that kind of stuff?
You know what I mean? Your ass be getting food stamps and don't know it. All right, Cameron, y'all appreciate y'all coming through. We're gonna get back on that. Matter of fact, Cameron, when we do the Regina thing, we're gonna give them another history lesson. You tell me the city. We'll pick one of them cities. We got black communities. We got Altamont history, Sanford, Ocoee. We're gonna do a little segment there. We're gonna get back. I like that. We're gonna break down that court paper. We're gonna give them a little history because they may be from a different part of this Central Florida area, and we'll give them some back to black shit. You know?
Yeah.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Talk to you later. Peace. All right.